And then finally, the ticker headline, Kenya eyes WFP debt swap for food security. Kenya has advanced its plans for a debt for food security swap brokered by the WFP, which would see the country sink millions of shillings towards farming initiatives.
Oh, a debt for food security swap. Trying to understand that.
Trying to understand it?
Yeah.
Just a quick one. It's on page 4 of the Business Daily. It says, Kenya has advanced its plans for a debt for food swap brokered by WFP, which will see the country sink millions into farming initiatives. In a debt for food security swap arrangement, a creditor agrees to forego outstanding payments, whether in part or whole, from the debtor country on a commitment that it will use the freed up resources towards bolstering food security initiatives, such as school feeding programs and agricultural development.
Okay.
So we have received many proposals for debt swaps, which run into hundreds of millions of shillings, including a debt for nature and a debt for food security swap, according to Treasury CS John Badi, who was saying this in the sidelines of the IMF World Bank meetings in Washington, D.C. We have a proposal from the WFP on a debt for food security swap, and it's a very advanced stage, being the first among many. Already it's being analyzed by the Treasury, he said, without providing details. So that means basically, we go and tell us, tuko na pesa yako. Sasa hiyo pesa, sio tuachie tuweke kwa agriculture. Sawa. Will you put in agriculture? Wallahi. Unajua Kenya ni agricultural economy. Unajua tuko na farmers wengi. Unajua kuna farmers wa mahindi, kuna farmers wa mboga, kuna farmers wa ng'ombe, tutaweka hapo. Aya.
What are the stipulations beyond just saying we've accepted debts? I want to see whether there's, again, do we have a plan?
If there's no notable growth towards food security, then does the debt come back? I don't know. I'm really trying to
now,
understand.
if you put money and now something happens, like it didn't rain,
or
and so those guys,
it's up in the air.
No. What we did is we went to food security, so we created cooperatives, because cooperatives are good at all these things.
Yeah.
It has worked elsewhere in the world.
Okay.
In 2009, Egypt managed to relieve itself of $15 million, that's about 1.2 billion shillings at the time, worth of debt service following a WFP-brokered debt for food security swap arrangements with Italy. Proceeds from this swap were ring-fenced for nutritional rations targeted at school-going children in an area, Fayum, Menia, and Beni Suef regions over a 5-year period. 2017, Mozambique undertook a $40 million debt swap arrangement with Russia, and the proceeds were ring-fenced for a 5-year-long school nutrition program targeting 150,000 students. Can you see? Chapati ndio hii sasa. Chapati ndio hii. 2020, Egypt again managed another debt relief of 15 million euros worth of debt following a WFP brokered debt for food security swap arrangement with Germany. The proceeds were ring-fenced for provision of nutritional needs for 136,000 low-income households.
Okay.
So all these were successfully undertaken?
Yes,
is that what the report is indicating?
Yes.
I mean, that's good.
However,
if
spending discipline.
Chapati.
That's it.
Si tuko na school feeding program.
Yeah.
Si Kenya tuko na school feeding program.
Yeah.
Si tuko na watoto wako shule. Si tuliwaahidi chapati. Sasa.
We swapped debt for chapo.
We just say to meet nutrition. Remember, by the way, we have a school feeding. One of the things that was happening in last year's budget.
The light bulb has, I've just seen it go on. Yeah.
Some of these things are connected from far. So last year, the whole conversation around the budget, there was one issue that raised a furore. The budget for the National Government Education Ministry had been reduced, and the money that was going, we usually have a school feeding program at the national, targeting particularly those ASAL areas.
Yes.
So it had been reduced last year. And the Education Ministry went to Parliament and said, but if you do this now, you're killing this entire program. What's going to happen to it? Then Parliament, Shingo Pande just returned some money into it. Can you now see the dots? Can you connect the dots?
Okay.
So now you see, last year we even had a distress on this one. I mean, we couldn't afford to do school feeding.
Yeah.
Now with this money, if you just give us this debt for the relief,
we'll be able to feed all the kids.
We'll be able at least to go to maintain our school feeding program, which is a couple of billions of shillings. And we even have a structure that has been running it. We are not doing anything new. It's just here, it's budgetary support for an ongoing program. But we've been
And we
having
have-
distress.
Right. And
But
we have
we've
a
been having
success
distress.
case in the one in Nairobi called Dishina County,
Yeah.
which is like a best case scenario of if this were to work,
Now it's just scaling it.
scaling it.
Taking it to scale